One, we get the tripartite report. Down there, we don't deal with it several times at this program. When at the issue them for deal with 86 recommendation. But today we will focus on recommendation 78. What in the day about? It's about the kind of election system we want. Whether we want the first past the post, we explain that, or we want the proportional representation. So if we don't want the proportional representation, we have to look at the electoral law. When at the Public Elections Act 2022, we deal with that. Is it still relevant? Because if we left that law and then at the book, it will cause problem. Because any law within at the book, we will not get rid of. Then use them, and it's not unconstitutional. Just like we'll get section 38, we talk about first part the post, and then we'll get section 38A, we talk about proportional representation. As long as it's there in the books, it could be used. So now we're not going to that danger day. Then we get census. When the president, we don't tell we saying they make census this year. Why census this year? Because according to the Constitution, or according to practice, census now every 10 years. The last 10 years census we'll do now 2015. When I they will lead to the boundary limitation, them we'll get the constituency boundary them for the 2018 election. We will get halfway census, then another thing we can talk about. But the next session, census we'll forget, 10 years after 2015, for 2025. Now we see the president on say, let's put up for 2026. And if you put it to 2026, according to practice, the result of that census, they now go determine the constituency boundaries there. And why important? If we get constituency boundaries, then we can get the argument, well, no need for proportional representation. So we get the other issue, when are the big beast, when are the constitutional review process. What do you mean by constitutional review process? This constitution, now the rules of the game. That number one law now we country where they make 1991. We'll move from one party to multi-party. And that 1991 constitution, it don't stand the test of time. You get the good, you get the bad, you get the ugly. And there's a section there where we deal with electoral, the election process. Section there we deal with the powers of the president. Section there we deal with MPs, their responsibility. All empty and then our Rob Motsman. Why important? Finally, the two parties and the two big boys in the house. They don't give notice say next year, 9 and for going to their own election. What thing they go into election for? For appoint a new executive, we will be chairman, party secretary general, spokesperson and all that, and they get for appoint regional executive. They don't begin appoint ward reps. And we see the first party where big SLPP, one or two Kuskas don't become prevalent in the system, where some big alleged they win a minister and deputy minister them, they will get for making them go sit down suffer. So it's very critical, because Salone after one election, we know they talk about development in the next election. If we go into 2028, they will not consider that issue here, the electoral laws, the people the way they run the election, parliamentary responsibility. Then we will go back to the same old problem where we get 2018 and 2023. So that the introduction that, and then topic here, Rob Motpan. Over to you, Mr. Shyllon.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Mengot. So let us start first with how we get set now we agenda for today. This ECSL and this whole idea about election and electoral justice. Let us see how is that going to work. So now we get on the calendar today, we'll get ECSL review of its strategic plan, which means strengthening the legal framework governing elections and voter registration. So one day with the framework what will strengthen election, and then the registration process, eligibility. So let me start off with asking Mr. Mengot, like the ECSL, the strengthening of the legal framework governing elections. So what do we mean by that?
Okay, now, first of all, let's look at the electoral management system. What I mean by electoral management system, who are responsible? Who are the person and the powers the way they get? According to our constitution, if you look at section 31, it starts with, say, everybody where they over 18 years of age eligible for vote in any public election. When I mean in public election, it can be presidential election, parliamentary election, local election, and also a referendum. Waiting a referendum, you don't tell who get referendum in that country. Referendum, now we want change certain clauses in the constitution, and you know, not to parliament no more left to the people, and then get for put to the people, where they'll get for make questions, say, in a 1A or in a 1B. I'll give an example when I entrench clause. If you say now the constitution, one of the key things now appointment of president. We talk about appointment of president, we constitution say they cannot nominate you for stand as a presidential candidate if you know they na political party. A political party get for nominate you. You cannot stand as an independent candidate with constitution for a presidential election. You can stand as an independent candidate under parliamentary and local government election. Why cause we believe say we forget them. Say you can be an independent candidate for president. Why not party get if now we will get for going to a referendum, then get for put them to the vote. Then I want the other thing that we come by electoral management system, we get the chief electoral officer, we're still there, although the other side been say they for pull up, but it's still there. And by the look of things, if you don't begin doing strategic plan, there is the likelihood that on the election. And the people that way they support them, that the electoral commissioner them. And the commissioner then they represent each region. Northern region, southern region, eastern region, and the new one way, I think say na carry there. So you get 5 commissioners then. What in the constitution say? The constitution say now the president get for appoint them people and they after consultation with the political parties then. Political parties, they say registered political parties. After consultation. Now the same thing in the Public Elections Act. But he not tell we waiting at the consultation process. He left down the ambiguous, nine at the lacuna. He not clear. Because the last time when they elect the electoral commissioner them, they say the right to the political party them. The president don't take Mr. A or Mr. B as commissioner. Is that consultation? That's a key question. Then parliament now and anger for go approval. We know the kind of parliamentary people that will get. The majority in parliament, I can say, what my friend can say, majority carries the goat. Because the goats not eat, but majority carries the vote. Because not you know the way go carry in a parliament to get majority. Now we'll get the first pass the poll. So the people the way they conduct the election, waiting at the integrity. How we for appoint them? Is it about time we people them as individual where they put them on nomination as other people them? Let the public say get a say. We get so many people that we get civil society. We get my question is, should we have like an electoral college? We involve everybody for appointing people here, because them people here they determine with future. So these are some of the legal things them now the election management system where each ESCL they do them plan. They do them plan, they get for deal with voter registration, right? Because the current system we get a system where they say if we want to vote, then our relative, we get for go to and go register. We can register abroad. So how do you compile the voter register? The importance of the new national identification number when have been controversy other than the act. So boku thing we get for do. But above all, we get the Public Elections Act 2022, when they been passed up in November. And that act day, now govern everything for do with the proportional representation, the list system. So if we know they use that system there again, is it about time for say let Parliament expunge their law today for books or let them draft new electoral law? But is it going to be after consultation? So these are the dilemma we often receive.
All right, Mr. Mengot, let me just take a piece at a time. You mentioned the Public Elections Act 2022, which seems to be the umbrella we cover some of them things there we just touch on. Let's just start off with the issue of the entrenched clauses within put say they cannot change within the Constitution when they cannot change unless there is backed by referendum. Now, people need to know what's in a referendum because, first of all, we need to understand all the electoral or the constitutional changes they all want to make. Now, for put we country on a good footing, so we're not going to change laws or make amendments them every time election they come. Now, for come up with ideas and policy and structure where everybody go get faith in the system, the electoral system, the justice system. So how do we achieve that? It's not as complicated to achieve as it might appear. We be able to achieve them, and number one, getting people entrusted with that responsibility there, we are people of integrity. People where their character is unquestionable. Now, how do we get these people? We get these people by participation. Our system is riddled with putting so much power in the hands of the president, who appoints. We are failing to realize that with system, not to angel, then we make president. Now, human beings will all get weaknesses or biases, we flaws. So don't draw up a constitution and put so much power in the hands of a president who is a human being like you. Because why will you want the president for do something against the interest, in your interest and the interest of the party? Some people get the soundness of mind where they go put country above themselves. But the vast majority of us will not do that. For God against that temptation there. For bend the law here and bend the law there. Now he may forget people of impeccable character, unquestionable character, who generally will be referred to as people with integrity. For serving at the commissions, then we get for do some of them overhauling of the system. Otherwise, if you give the president so much power for appoint this, appoint clerk, appoint magistrate, nothing, it's a waste of time because the president is going to turn it all political. He's going to put people in a position not unnecessarily out of competence, not necessarily out of fitness. He will be doing because of people and where he knows say he can manipulate, he can control. Is that what you want for the country? You know? Because in talking many years ago, even when I was a much younger lawyer, where the MPRC kind of power, I don't favor military rule in any way, shape, or form. That's why I'm not too hopeful when military leaders then come. They get one advantage over democracy, that they can rule by decree. But ruling by decree is a double-edged sword, in the sense that if you now use one edge of the sword constructively, you will cause more damage than you think. When MPRC kind of power, I was one of those who said, I think one of the legacy they will have left, they should have really, to the dismay of all the one who will listen, ban APC and SLPP. These two parties should have just been deconstructed. Make, the ban politics, the ban campaign, you just ban these two parties, because when you think of these two parties, they have been nothing but bad memory for Sierra Leone. They've done very little for the country. And this thing where people acclimate themselves to Mina APC, Mina SLPP, almost like some kind of secret society kind of thing, is dangerous for the country. So, but being what it is now that we get, the only saving grace we get now, we cannot ban the smaller parties then. The smaller parties then, like now 2 members belong to the party, let them be. The people will decide if they want to vote for that small party there or big party. Any attempt for track the other small parties then is a disservice to the country. And anybody who they try to do that, and of course will not mean well for the country. And of course will not mean well for even the political party, because at the end of the day, if you do all that one day, you will die tomorrow, the country will continue to exist, you picking and you grandpicking and your family all go there and that country there, and the bad laws that we don't make, then go get for live by. So my thing is, when we say referendum now for the people, for participate. This 2/3 majority thing, not for trust for parliamentarians them. Because we know say corruption is part and parcel of a system. The type of, why I say part and parcel is not written in the books, but we know it's a practical thing taking place. So what happens? Let people go and tell the people and put a referendum really now where you allow the people and for vote on a particular issue and get for some certain amount of or certain number or threshold way for reach for let that referendum they become something adoptable or pass as law. But now actual voting, referendum, not if we just go around and say we'll get, no, if it be an actual election where people and the issue is brought before the people then the law is 2/3, or if in a matter of just numbers, you say you forget so much. People, if a population of 8 million, if a referendum about national issue, the law can say at least we forget 6 million votes, or we can say 2/3. You see, that's what the referendum is all about. Not the way we parliamentarians them, some of whom work diligently, and some of whom are just there for themselves, not to for do the job for which they're good for. You can't just rely on that. And it's not a condemnation of them, even the bad ones them. I'm just simply saying, if we are trying to come up with a workable system, we'll therefore come up with something that would withstand the test of time. Because no country can afford every time there's an election, we'll go for review, we'll go for revamp, we'll go for change. As we go along, I will tell you, I'll be the talk with my colleague, even this old practice of the Electoral Commissioner having the power to nullify voting, I think that should be a power vested in the courts, not in the Electoral Commissioner. But let me stop right there, because there are many other things I've put on. But if I want to go through all of that, it will be, my colleague will get time for talk. But the referendum issue, I want to let people understand what the referendum means. That is, we come up with an idea, what we think say then at the Constitution, but the work like it's supposed to work. So we want we change them. We're not go left hand to the bookman them. We're not go left hand to the parliamentarian them. We'll go get the bookman them, the parliamentarians them, as well as the population. Let we all vote on that issue there. And then foresee if the majority, based upon what in the law say, agree, then that's it. So it's not going to be just them parliamentarians, then we come up with the idea they will be, we all, that we vote for. So let me go back to Mr. Mengot. So I will go, later on I will talk about other things. For example, what's wrong with the electoral process, and how we can avoid that one day. So let me just stop at this point. Mr. Mengot, I'm back to you, sir.
Okay, now we talk about me and possibly believe in waiting and can talk about elections in some country, then call that particular section what they deal with representation of the people. What do they mean by representation of the people? It means the one they will send go parliament. That is one of the things they will get now system. Are they going there for defend we the people where puts them there, or then they go there because a party puts them there? Now that makes so this big question come back about we get for decide waiting now the system we want. First past the post or proportional representation. But now explain to people that waiting that they mean, waiting at the difference between first past the post and proportional representation. First past the post now a system where according to the current constitution, it means that Sierra Leone is divided into constituencies. That division into constituencies in the olden days, it was easily identifiable. Why I say it was easily identifiable? Because my colleague here, Mr. Shyllon, can say, why you make change now for improve the system? Also for change because you want change. Let's take the Western region, for instance. Let's give example. We shall call Western region now where you call them Western rural and Western urban. Then at the Western region. Because now they may come out and I will show people them. The Western urban, the boundary to the west, now Levuma, then off the peninsula. The boundary to the east, now Ogu Bridge. Right? So before what we get East 1 and East 2. Mean be East 1 man. East 1 at that mountain cut area, can do get Central 1, Central 2. We get West 1, West 2. So it's easily identifiable. Then the rural area, we get York Rural District, we get Waterloo Rural District, we get Mountain District will be regent. So it be easy. But now then change them for some time. Now we get constituency 101, constituency 102, constituency 103. So even that self they confuse the people then. Because the different constituency them, we don't get. Now not to area again a number. Like what we get if you go to the province, you get Kenema Central, Kenema West. Yeah. Now so 102, 103, 104. So then people they know they elect certain constituency then they who don't determine the boundary them. Now then they go represent we in a parliament. And why? Issues then they win an MP the issue, not take on contemporary now. Like this Koidu issue na the media. Koidu na part of Kono district. We forget an MP where they represent them people and they na that area they wait then while are we there, you go able to go parliament now go say me people in that area na then tear in the face. Let we discuss them. As an MP na right for defend in citizen. The proportional representation, you get a list of MPs them where they represent that corner area there. And then give them seats according to the vote where the party get. So you not gonna know who's one and the MP them where they represent the particular area where Koidu there. That's an interesting thing because the list system, now the party, now they put you in a list. Now they say, now this man is the number one, now this man is number two. So if now 4 seats then get, now the first 4, now then go represent then another area there. Whereas the constituency now, you get individual MPs them. And where we get this proportional representation? The first thing we get them, now be after the war. Where they move from a military government to a civilian government. So we not get constituency boundaries. So we do that system where all the parties then this term, then give lists. They will bring them back later on for the election. I think it was the 2002 election. Which you been a talk, Mr. Shyllon. Now that thing then do them by that 2/3 majority. Where them bring them come. And they left under the books. So the question now where the challenge with it before we now. 2028, now where they don't say census now next year. If census not happen, is there not the possibility say we go back into 2028 and get that proportional representation? So me feel to say na me own, like I explain, and so let them explain it to the people then. Then there for me, it need a referendum. For say we no go get all 2. No choose 1. Because what you do, for me on part, the second part of that proportional representation, it relate to something that the constitution we've been there for long. We mean say, if me, they appoint me, then me party no glad with me. Me Secretary General of me party can write to the Speaker of Parliament say, they don't drag me na the party. And if they drag me na the party, then I lose my seat. So the party can pull me against of the people that will vote me. It been under already, even before proportional representation. But under this proportional representation, when I list you the day, you get for behave the way the party tell you. So any vote where they vote, you follow what the party tell you. We see that the way happen during the time for getting rid of the Auditor General. When by party vote, they vote. In fact, the other party said they say some man they will sell game. Then talk about brown envelope. Not to that no more. Even this corridor business we hear about brown envelope. So we as a country get for deciding. If we go into 2028 election, are we going for first past the post representation? If so, now when they say that they consult, then they're going to every district them. Wouldn't the people away then they go talk to the district, the political party, the CSO, the commissioner, the ordinary people then, do they understand it? Is it not their say? That is why I would recommend a referendum for decide once and for all the system we want, and let educate the people and waiting at the advantage and disadvantage. I might be biased, but I don't think so. Don't mature enough for going to proportional representation. So this is a major challenge we get, and especially next year where the party them now then they go choose even among the party themselves, where then they choose the people that way they represent them. Flag bearer and a key thing. Even then district chairman and regional chairman and even winner the diaspora election said they get draw. So if we not fix that, we will get problem back 2028. So then a critical issue is where I don't have much pan. I don't know if you get any more thing for do solo move pan. But for me, na serious issue we'll get for deal with. Before we begin talk now more about the people that will manage the election. Because the next one we'll talk about manage the election. Now the powers they will then give the electoral commissioner when I get for appoint so many people there. So now then I get for say about this one, this particular issue. The first past the post of proportional representation. We listen at the word they listen to we. Dia inase can't carry up much pan this talk. The lines are open because there's no monopoly to knowledge. We are letting ourselves talk about this thing because this is critical. 2028, now do or die for the country. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much again, Mr. Mengot. Yeah, along what you would talk about, I want to let people understand, say, this pro forma performance by we leadership or politicians them back home, there is lack of what you call good faith. People are not really interested in coming up with a system. Like I give some local, other countries than close to we, Sierra Leone, where they try. They are far ahead of we. You take Ghana. The reason why Ghana has been able to get different presidents, the people have been able to change without any rancor. Now, because of the way we then draw the constitution, we make it clear how to go about changing. Because that's the only way. Any system we will go draw up, we will give one party or one group advantage. I don't even call it an advantage. In a way, it's an advantage, but I would say undue advantage. To an advantage where they're not due the advantage they will and they try to forget. It is detrimental to the interests of the country. It only benefits a minute number of people in the country. And then it takes away so many constitutional rights from the rest of the population. So if you are well-meaning, you go look beyond your political party with the support. If you are well-meaning, you go look beyond your political aspirations. You know, if you are well-meaning, you go look at what would stand the test of time, even long after you're gone. If you are well-meaning, you will try to come up with rules, regulations, laws, where go protect unborn generations. Because one fact is clear. None of us here today, listening, will be here 100 years from now. But waiting go day, now the legacy what would be left behind. Now ain't go guide the other ones them. And and times will change. But what would they come with the past laws that are self-serving, it really hurts the system. Because there are so many things if we talk about political reform that we really need for getting to. Okay, watching at the genesis, for example, then say if you want to become a president or if you want to run for the presidency, you should belong to a political party. Think about that for a moment. Why is there a need for some? You take like me, I use myself as an example. If I were 20 years younger, I had the fire in me as I used to run for the presidency. If I were of the age of the current president, the current speaker, the current clerk, and when I be beating your age, I was a very fiery person. And I don't share the political views of APC, SAPP. Why should I be forced to belong to them party today? Why can't I be, and there is no existing political party whose ideology I agree with, and I don't have the money to form a political party? Why shouldn't I be free to run as an independent, as president in my country? Let the people decide. So why you get group of people that would say you get for belong to a party whose ideology you may not agree with, which ideology that you may and be completely in opposition to? So wouldn't are the people, wouldn't are there smart people here where they come up with their regulations there, then rules there? These are some of the things we begin for question. Let the people decide. And with political structure, it's just really flawed in many ways. Because we know, say, the people who run for the presidency, the people are even, as Mr. Mengot just described, now not to the people and the votes they mean, now the structure within the political party and then they choose. So with MPs in the parliament, technically, they are not representative of the people. They are representative of the parties. So how does that serve the purpose for which we want we get an independent structure, a structure with integrity, we go make sure say we do things fairly and efficiently. So I don't understand that. So that's that number one issue there. Let somebody call and explain to we or to me, why does someone have to belong to a political party to run for the presidency? You know, why is it necessary? What are the genesis behind that? I mean, it's good for no, like Mr. Mengot said, our idea is not limited to just one person. Somebody we might get some genius, then we come up with ideas we want to think. But so now for the good of the country. So please call in. And let me take one or two calls before we move on. Hello, caller. What are your name? Who's side you call from? Hello, caller. Hello, caller. What's your name? Who's side you call from?
Some genius thing we call it. Hello.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Who's side you call from?
Hello, yeah. Good evening, Mr. Shyllon and Mr. Mengot. It's now the call from Mengot.
Yeah, Mr. Abdul, thanks for calling. Good evening.
Yeah, I just want to give me a little submission to this electoral system discussion. I want to start with the constitutional reforms. It's a high time we don't talk for the uptenth time that we need this new constitution as early as possible. But from the look of things, though the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Alpha, say they give you assurances before the end of President Boye in term, a new constitution will come into being. But however, my own perception is I not feel say President Boye one rule in this new constitution. He want perhaps accomplishment so that the new presidency will come 2028. Now go preside over that new constitution day. Now that's me they see. Even though the Attorney General they give you assurance, but people are still skeptical, knowing the politicians for who they are. They've been making series of promises, rigmaroling on this, and we know this see they come to fruition. Like where when I mentioned about the appointment of the Chief Electoral Commission and the commissioners, and when at the crux of the matter of all the elections, the way we don't go through from the same way we get the first election where Jonah preside over Walter Leon, Christiana Top, Ufa Leon to now, you see there are so many challenges. And one thing when the 1991 Constitution gets is the president, they appoint in consultation. Well, that consultation was just like Mr. Mengot say, it's too ambiguous. They don't make them explicit. From the inception of multi-party democracy in Sierra Leone, the president then just they inform the political parties instead of consulting. So I know that what they consult literally it go mean say you for ask the person like in consent you want this here or you don't want them. Now that we understand say it go mean. But we don't know whether not figuratively then they perceive them as that the consultation for just means to say, let's just inform me. Okay, now Alpha now want for the chief commissioner. Then whether we accept it or not, now in name I go forward na Parliament for approval. I think that's what they all we don't do. But one good thing where this tripartite agreement stipulates now that all the registered political parties they forgive and consent say yes, that individual they now want as chief electoral commissioner and the commissioners then. Now that's this tripartite agreement. So now one good thing now the way Mr. Fleck, that they inform them again, but then forgive them in writing, say yes, we want na Christiana Johnson you want, or na Alpha Johnson or whatever Brahma say or this person now want. Forward the name to Parliament for let Parliament go approve them. That is one good thing. Then about the first past the post and the PLC. I feel to say both have their own system, both have their own advantages and disadvantages. In a literate society like Usai we dey at the West, you go say you go get an own proportional representation. Just like when we go with the get elections now, yeah, let's say with the vote for the school board or whatever. That's the open proportional representation system, Dandy, where they write the names them. You go rank them now as how you want them. Just Brahima Fambule, number 1, Abdullah Sisse, number 2, Joseph Karim, number 3. So you go rank them in that way. But Sierra Leone illiteracy rate no go avail we without opportunity there for go with that open proportional representation day. Rather, now the closed proportional representation, just as we get in 2002, 1996, and this 2023, where it is disadvantageous because when the party now they choose the members of Parliament and in their ranking day, if me want go vote for somebody where don't they do well in the constituency, but in name they second to last na the list. And now because of him make a go vote, it go disadvantageous for that person day. Means even though that person day na the most popular na that constituency or na that region day or na that district day, but in name they down na the party list. So na the most disadvantaged aspect of them. So for now, let we still go for first past the post and forget about the proportional, because this closed proportional representation, what we do. If now open proportional representation, I am all for it. If now a literate society. But being that now a closed proportional representation we they go for, me not they support them because the party they twist the list and put possibly popular na the list in name down. We're not going to beneficial to the consistency of the district where they represent. So I just say for making small really contribution at top so thank you very much.
Okay, let me quickly just inject so Mr. Mengot will address all of that. This proportional representation, where Abdul just mentioned, but then he put the number, I didn't say ranking. He say ranking. Well, number 1, another thing say, of course, if you rank them, you don't do the service to the country. And so I don't know if Abdul really mean in the word of ranking. He say number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. I don't think that ranking down there, but I may be wrong. I mean, but I think so for avoid that misunderstanding, they put them all side by side. Don't number them 1, 2, 3, 4. Just put them all side by side pictorially because we'll not get a very advanced literate society. So we therefore make them for suitable people and standard of understanding. Now, like when you put road sign, if most of the drivers them can't read and write English or anything, you therefore illustrate some of the distances them and the directions them by illustration, by picture, just like bathroom. Where you go in a bathroom, if you just say women, up country, or even in the country generally, so a lot of people they can't read. So what you do, you put a woman with you put the impression of somebody with skirt, and then like we now since we got a local way of dressing, a woman with lapa. Then any woman, like you to read or write, you're going to sit down there for a woman. Any man going to sit down. So we get for customize because this whole idea about Twitter land book. Now for just give with the basic structure of how to proceed and to be able to build on top of which we don't learn or people them. So we cannot practice democracy or electoral process like other countries in the do. You know, with time, it will be done. So that right. So watching Abdul call ranking, I would suggest you put everybody side by side. So, I mean, the picture will start from the left to the one will go to the right. There is nothing will give you an indication. If you see 5 people in front of you for say, this person is preferred over the other. So we just get to face the challenge with the intellectuals there. This is what I see about this whole thing. So the reason we could get difficulty for proceed now because we want to give advantage of one group over the other. So we not to spend with time trying to think how things will work for the country, for the good of the country. Believe it or not, with time is being spent, how one group forget advantage over the other. If the SFP be in a power, not to waiting good for the country, now waiting good for their own party for retain power. And if the APC, now the same thing, you know. So now then, but I mean, we'll get the intelligence, we'll get the knowledge. Now the selfishness and greed in we, they allow we forget a clear vision of how to proceed. But again, Mr. Mengot, please bear with me. Let me take 1 or 2 calls. That will not get a call them for accumulate too much. Hello, caller.
Definitely.
Who's side you call from?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr.
Shyllon.
Mr. Mengot and Mr. Shyllon. Thank you very much. You know, it's good for have you always. Me and Ahmed at the call from UK.
Thank you, Ahmed. Thanks for calling.
Yes, yes. Thanks for your education. Always, when we are to this with Mr. Jamboria, I told you there's absence. But when once you guys, Mr. Kago, lovely program, always, I wish people can pay attention. Listen, Mr. Shyllon, with all the experience you have, and we are young guys, we witness, I know vote Jankaba in time, but as of course, we know, we follow up, we see the jubilation after the war. And yes, and Escoma in time, I know vote actually, but we see, let's say we pass democracy because how this commissioner them in come from Kisena Top and Fali, I'm sure say they consult other parties. But look at the appointment of Kone. It not been legal at all, because even this guy PMDC Charles Magai, if he raised that appointment, but let me tell you something. Marabiobi no say he no work for the people with all the past 5 years. So you know what he will do. Now make it force this PR system. In the first place, Abbas Mundu says illegal. How they bring Canada parliamentary. So that they did corruption, everything. And they then build up, the nation, the nucleus of the government, the parliament, where for decide, who for whole process accountable. Now then first don't sell the whole process. Then this bribery, this corrupt way of behaving. Just look at the kind of young killer who all the hope say it will can be a third force. Look, see for Masilami, these young guys. So, Marabio use some criminal act, bribery, corrupt money, he buy them guys there. So, now that make all this PR system. In the first place, this PR system not for even come to play again. Just like what Mr. Mengot explained. We know why the PR system may come to play. Before Marabio can about 2018, there were independent candidates them. We stand, the constituency-based processes first past the post, it been better for the people. A nation like Salone will not get educated, people and much more in the provinces. But at least the people will decide because they know what they want and the constituency. So now a plan work. Look how we did today. Without they see Salone today, if you say this particular regime and they practice democratic principles. Look how the country did. Economically, we are down. We're not going forward. What you promise the people, what you talk, nothing, not the way you don't achieve. So he tell we a lot about how they can tackle corruption and how you go use their money they are, how they are PAPC they are. This chief man they win and escromade. We don't buy this, we don't buy that, we don't fly too much. They can't correct all of that. Who shall we do today? For God's sake. This is not about tribe. If we not focus and we get the right people in our governance system, we don't go before. Then guys, some of the guys are we don't they know who said they go put themselves, they don't even know who said they do. We see them guys are in the beef for the ministry there. That the wrong people and then go put who say they study, which then do now, which then they go do and that is different. We expect people who be doing in the diaspora, who don't do now, we don't see much, who for go correct things, for go follow the democratic principles, but look to their any beef. Now in the 30 people they mark for kill them. These are professors, they call themselves. What you call education? For me, understanding, when I read education as a teacher. Now, when you learn, let me say, like if you didn't answer today, what your education they benefit people within the society. You say they're proud of that kind of education. But how they go learn now for yourself, for chief and enrich yourself? Then you say you educate. I don't know if you say that education is meaningful. A meaningful education, now where you able to help the poor people surrounding you, the society, your neighbors, I think that's better off. So, you don't analyze everything. In the first place, this PR system was wrong. Kone was not even qualified to be there, but Marabio forced him away because he know what he want to do. Just like what he do for Abbas Bundu. So now the problem starts. Now they make we enter so with this so today. We get election, no results. Up to today, people will still fight for them. And I tell you for free, this electoral justice people in the fight show, they say now for one or now for APC or now for Sabura Kamara. No. Now the people, how we go get election will not get results. Then we say we could go forward. This is the lead way to war. How many soldiers they way door on away from Salone now? Where this man won't come from where Rosak? How many civilians they don't chase across the hang? You want to say people they don't grieve? We feel encounter and wage war. If you say no, they don't get supporters, then people will support them largely. Now then they bring calm problem in the nation. If we not correct her now, if we catch don't selfish people and greedy people, because of their own personal greed and self-aggrandizement, they plunge you into danger again. Tomorrow they all run away, them come out, they catch them back to America, go to London, go to England, they all don't escape. Then left the poor people and continue for suffer. We can agree, say both parties are wrong. We can be saying Escobar was not even perfect, he was also another one. But here again, why would you correct yourself now? So today they blame 1960. And the one who don't die, the Magai family who don't die, Sheki who don't die. Why would not for transform yourself? Look at Rwanda after the post-war conflict and with the restructure, which they don't construct, they don't make it a nation now. We say today we can blame the colonial masters then. Even if we take Sijankaba in 10 and Escobar in 10 now for don't change. Burkina Faso, 2 years down the line, look how this will improve. Anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Shyllon and Mr. Mengot. I'll continue for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you calling. And let me take one more call, and then I will switch to Mr. Mengot. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you call from?
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mengot and Mr. Shyllon. This is for Mustafa.
Hello, Mr. Mustafa. Thanks for calling. Yes, sir.
Last week, when I left you in the cold. Anyway, Mr. Shyllon. First thing, before I talk about the thing today, last day we've been there, you be respond to my comment about ethnicity, about names. I've been I've been trying to call back, but I not been know if I don't close the line. But I know it they announced the line don't close.
Okay.
So I've been trying to call back for talk about what you mean actually, because if anybody therefore no say names them Kuruma, Kindi, North and South, now like we know all those things. So, but the problem here is I know what we see Dom. I don't give me point about where they want to sweep the thing under the rug, because when we look at the issue, we say that true say the Kuruma and the South, they see any problem wrong today with the current government. Whilst the Kuruma and the North, they see say something wrong. So that's what I want. We know say the names then cross. But 90% of those names, then they one part of the or more, then they one part of the country, and the 10% or less, then they one side. But that 10% they to them, now the party now they in power, they don't say anything wrong. Now that one for we talk about. But I know say the names then are cross. I very much know about that. The thing about what we talk about today about the PR system. All this PR system come as a result where Umar Fofana host that town hall with Mr. Bio or Mother Bio. Now I tell him, say, see, the PR can make you stronger because you always get votes in the north and the western area. So that in the night is sure, so that in the night, no time down. So this PR is not about, because we're not even getting infrastructure for them, like Mr. Mengot said. Because even now, when they do their own local, in the by-election, the one lower level, they need one PR, they do one by constituency and ward them. Because now that will get in our system right now. We'll not get any infrastructure for now we switch to a PR. But as Mr. Shyllon back talk, then it's always try for outsmart the order, not for improve the system. So then say they want PR because they know say the SLPP is always getting around 25 to 30% of the vote in the western area. So now that the only matter to them. Parliamentary seat. Even though parliament they not get no job for do, it no matter. But they want the seat them so that if they say for vote, they vote like as any vote without any merit. They just vote for this voting sake. So the PR, it is not to improve the system, but meant to get parliamentary seats for the SLPP. That's point blank. If we want for make we improve, we get that system in our country, it get for take some time before we get infrastructure and the mindset for when we go into PR. But now today, so before we post in campus MP, when are responsible for one area, people go ask and say, "Oh, we suffer now all this." But now nobody know the way they ask, eh? Because I party input and nobody's responsible for the problem like I do now. I do. So you see, so now let me go up for say this PR is not accidental. Even now when they try for push for the constitutional, they don't put and they because according to them they say the Cowan recommendation, they say people and choose PR. Most people are going to go choose PR. PR, we don't understand what you mean. You say how it go affect you. You talk to people and choose PR, but it's going to be there because it favor the government. Like if they do all kind of things for smart the order. Now that's no more I want to say like I add to this conversation. I thank you, young man.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mustafa. Thanks a lot for calling. Let me read a quick comment, then I go pass over. When the late Dr. Abdullahi Conte took part in writing the 1991 Constitution and left a lot of loopholes, that came to haunt him because the Chief Electoral Commissioner used the PR system. Well, yeah, of course, except that I could say when Dr. Abdullahi Conte wrote the Constitution, I still take the position he was made to write that Constitution because he get a doctorate degree in law, not because he get any knowledge or expertise in constitutional law, which is what haunts us all the time. I mean, nobody will question the academic credential of Dr. Abdullahi Conte, as we will not question the credential of many of the PhD and doctors them. But that in no way qualified them. Some of the expertise within the claim, they are not qualified, regardless of how many PhDs they get. That's all I would say. But again, there are more comments coming. I don't want to take, Mr. Mengot can read this and we'll move on. Mr. Mengot, back to you, sir. There are some comments.
Yes, sir. Well, I thank you for the persuasive Mr. Mengot understanding of our institution and laws, and the constitutional process is brilliant. Thank you very much for the seal of endorsement. But I'll go back to what would they do so, and for the benefit of every Sierra Leonean. And when we talk about this review process, somebody said we the people need to be able to select the man or woman we feel can represent us in parliament. Definitely. And at that same part the one go now, we will say we get a situation whereby the PRC allow understand them as most people and they say. For me, the way the PR system can work if now we want them, now for say, okay, from the constituency level, at ward level, let them put 6 people in let the members of that party, they vote for who they feel to say, go represent the interest. If not that's been happen, it can modify, and then I one thing way wrong. Because not to the people and the vote. Secondly, the threshold, forget a seat. Then they make some complicated formula where you say you forget 12%, 12.5%. Right? Which means the way they do that, the smaller parties them no go ever meet them threshold and they. So one of the things where this PR system do, it kill with smaller parties then. And we know the role where smaller parties they don't play from time immemorial. Even if we look and say go back to pre-independence, we will get other party them. But in this review, I think say we must get the people's voice. We must get the people's voice. Then town hall meeting here, not for just the chieftaincy, the people, the ordinary people, let them explain to them what thing they want, who they you want for go. Because this system where they talk so, we not get time. Because what thing do I say we not get time? Lord look and say, next year na 2026. And if na 2026, what's important to the two party them? Now, who that then get for be flag bearer? Who that then get for be party chairman? Who that get for be party secretary general? Now, important. Waiting we the people they want, it then at the back of the whole issue. So it's about time we decide, say, first of all, the people themselves were they in charge of the election because they already approved them. Now the same people they are for decide. Because once you see them approve, if you look at the constitution, and the first place before they go to constitutional review, my recommendation would be the Parties Act, the Political Parties Act 2022 Act. When I bring this PR system and the system out for Ghana, the first thing for do now for pull out completely from my books. Because you know we get that law there, they say you review whether one A or B. If we not agree, that law is still there, then we use them back. That's the fear. Just like we want to go into election, we get section 38, we talk about first past the first, they'll get 38, and we go proportional representation. If we not get the criteria, we meet section 38, we in a boundary delimitation. And how would they do boundary delimitation? We they do boundary delimitation based on census. Now, even the census self, we don't postpone them until next year. If that didn't happen, what happens next? So these are the critical issues. But we still open. I think what you get for look at now, based on the thing that we don't plan for today, one thing very important for take a break. Now for look at, because all the things we get for do, now Parliament get for approval. And we get for look at, even the Parliament, it need review. The only time they review Parliament, now before the last election, we been get the Parliamentary Act. And the key thing that will be focused on, now for the money where they get for good. Let's read this. The APC began undermining the system by gerrymandering in the north when they created new districts and another province only in the north. That's fine. It come back to what me and Mr. Shyllon can say. We're not going for we can go back. Although yes, they say you get for no side come out before you know side they go. This idea for say APC do this, SLPP do this, now no problem at the country. Wait for the look at now. President Bio out new direction. After a new direction, he don't count it in Big Five agenda. The Big Five agenda, is it suitable for we people then? Part of the Big Five agenda, one of it in a public sector reform. They're very critical. And when they talk about public sector reform, part of the public sector and the Parliament. So for let people understand the context, who I look at Parliament, because they all the kuku jumuku they play. Recently, we've been given one video where the current clerk of Parliament, they be interview am, because he been a try for say he go be the best secretary general of the party. Then an SLPP party. Oh, Victor, Mohammed, Bangura, and Thompson went to Parliament under the APC, but they continue to go against the party. When the Secretary General wrote to the Speaker, there is no hearing about that. If I address that, if the Secretary General go to the Speaker, right, according to that, if it was formal, then for take decision. But let's take a break. Let's watch this video, because this is very critical, because now I want to talk about parliamentary reform. Because we get for learn from what happened. When are the role of the Speaker and the role of the clerk, because then are the two people the way they run Parliament. Because the Speaker, I would say, na the political head, the clerk, na the administrative head. So I want to analyze this video, because then they go show waiting na some of the things that we get for focus on for change with system. I don't know if the technical team will play this video, no do an analysis of it.
Because you see APC na witch man there. Me we sit down and I mean a witch doctor. So it only takes the witch doctor for know what the witch man want do and forestall him. You don't understand? So sometimes I call myself the political ariabo. Because where I reach the witch man self, they in a state of constant panic. So I reach Falaba, the people of Falaba elect the SLPP, but unfortunately, because of the intimidative strategies of the APC, the people not be able to do anything for support the SLPP.
You get approval for that?
I get approved because when I reach Falaba, I raise the votes of the SLPP from 7% in 2012 to 48.77%. This not been just one term. Fast forward 2023, President Boye say, "Payan go the back." And I went again to Falaba, and I raised it from 48.77% to 69%. So that is to tell you, this is a practical politician. This is the politician who tell you, say, I want win 2028. He don't begin demonstrate how they win 2028. Okay? Fast forward, coming to Parliament. In 2018, we won and we came to Parliament. APC had 68 MPs. SLPP had 49 MPs. I was clerk of Parliament, the chief electoral commissioner of Parliament. And I was tasked with the responsibility for make sure, say, the speakership come to the SLPP. Because of the ruling government. What do you mean for like be in the ruling, then the opposition take the speakership? It means, say, you become stagnated. And nothing only happen at this state if Parliament not sanction. And I knew of this. And me, a man will get political eye. And because I get political eye, I say, no action or the way they take. Why not the first way the political implication? Okay. If we sit down at APC, take the speakership, SLPP is done. So I now bring some MAPREDI inside. Political MAPREDI. I know how I engage. I know what I do. Everybody see the result, but they don't know how I achieve the result. I achieved it and I made sure the SLPP gets the speaker. So this is to tell you, this is not the pattern. If you say they win 2028, you don't demonstrate how they win.
Mr. Mengot, I don't want to beat you. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I want you to go because I guess certain issues the way I'm bringing.
Okay. So, you know what this remind me of? Parliamentary, I don't know how old he is. I don't know how much he knows about the political history of Sierra Leone. But what that reminds me of, and I need for bring back to the attention of people, and we now know, but they must know that there was a time where APC, because a group, the Ibrahim Taki, the Mohammed Surifona, and so many others, where they fall out of favor of the APC, they end up losing their life. And I recall when those guys formed a political party and they broke away from APC, because Param just said something just now, if we sit down, tell the other one, and what good is it? First of all, Param don't understand the working of a government and a divided government. It's unfortunate he is the clerk of parliament, but he just doesn't understand the workings of a divided government. A true democracy forgets a divided government for let it work efficiently. Okay? I recall where they say when the other party, I don't remember what that party was, Ibrahim Taki them party, and the name doesn't come to mind. But when they formed them party, the momentum was on their side. They were going to defeat APC because these people had a principal disagreement with APC and Pashaki. It is rumored that the vice president, what's that be name? Kuruma, S.I. Kuruma. S.I. Kuruma said to the Pashaki, he said, Ibrahim Taki get degree in journalism. Surifona, an American doctor, and name all the one who get degrees them. He said, I don't know about you, but me in a high school education I get. If we sit down, we'll make them Boye take power in our hand. Now we say we get for blame. That is a very dangerous way for look at government. So Shaki, they overcompensate, then go to the extreme, charge those people falsely. I can say that categorically, falsely of treasonous offenses and kill them and execute them and dismember them body them. We need to know our history. So when I read Param, they say what they say so, it reminds me so much of S.I. Kuruma and the APC days where they kill and dismember the bodies of prominent people then we love Sierra Leone just as much as any other people them. Okay, now let me deal with this thing about divided government. Param is just flat out wrong. The minority party can get, first of all, the minority party, once we get to the rules of engagement, if the other party will not get the presidency, now they get the speakership, it just makes it equal. Then it play a balance. Now, when you put all the power in the hands of one party, the speakership, the presidency, that's where the problem arises. And with the Sudan, I have perhaps the brag that it gets a crooked way because that's what I would characterize what you just saying, the brag about that. That's an insult to the rest of us. Because in our tell we what is so ingenious way do for make all this drastic change. And if it's something you're proud of, tell us what is it that you did. We make when I move from the minority, when I produce the speakership. Is that the future for Sierra Leone? You see that the same thing make in the Param Tarawale was able for putting West the work in at Parliament for 6. And this is the system they want to create for letting West work for 2 years and get free money and not get no trouble out of that. It is so annoying, it's so offensive, it's so insulting. These guys talk to the rest of us as if we are stupid. You know? I ought to be ashamed. What did he say so? In that Aribo, may not care for in characterization of APC, then can be which man, if not so he feel. But me not impressed with what he say, where he do for turn things around. And is that so? Is that what we wish for country? Now the man they talk about the future 2028. Is that the future Sierra Leone has? We want to talk serious talk about how to make the system work. Now how to give the paramilitary them power. We already indicate say you know go use that power there and well in the interest of the country. This is a shame. I try to refrain from condemning some of these guys, but they ought to be ashamed and they have to have more respect for some of us around who are still alive, who know better. Don't talk to us as if we not go school and learn book past some of una. You know, but for the grace of God, we don't know what they was on this. So I'm getting so upset about the whole thing. So let me go back to you, Mr. Mengot. He had to be ashamed of himself. Oh, let me comment on also, because I had said repeatedly, again, this is not the genius they would put with regulations and laws them together. Whoever came up with the idea that the president should appoint a clerk of parliament, clerk of parliament is so distinct from the executive that the president and the presidency should have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the appointment of anything, not even a security guard, the parliament. Complete disengagement. So this just show how the Parliamentary is them, and then Bukmaya, where they don't know what they do, then just find themselves in a position of authority. If you want the system to work, take that power away from the president. The president should not be appointing anybody in the parliament. The speaker and get that authority, and the parliamentarians them. Okay? Until such thing, all this rubbish where they talk about reform, it will never work. It will never work because it's not being done in good faith. We're just talking. Then we try. Then Europeans said, and the fool we, then they give you money for that we just shoot ourselves in the foot, and we think so because these people know better. They know so we leaders are not serious, you know. So that's all I got to say. If we talk about reform, let the president not get anything to do with parliament to start with. Go not to show government to work. Government doesn't work like that, or the democracy doesn't work like that. We talk about 3 arms of government, and it will be separate and distinct from each other. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shyllon. For me, I listened to Parliamentary. I've never met him. Me only tell what I know about him. Now, the role where they play in a parliament, and me, in a one person way, as I can tell people when they say, what do you give back to Sierra Leone? I can challenge people and let them go. I set up a parliamentary page because let me go back to what they talk about. When this election, when we get the 2018 election, I was one of the first person who was happy with the outcome. And I'll tell you why I was happy with the outcome. Because we had a situation, we've been getting a situation where the executive was with the SLPP party as president, and the president get enormous power under the constitution. But the legislature was with the opposition, and as CSF Chokam, APC being get 60 plus seats, SLPP get 40 plus seats. So I was very happy. Now make sure I set up the Sierra Leone Parliamentary Watch page on Facebook with 86,000 subscribers. That is what I give back, and I discuss parliamentary issue. So let me tell you what I have in common with Parliament, with Taha. As Mr. Shyllon said, right? There is no way, that is where we go wrong. The president should have anything to do with the appointment of the clerk of parliament. Because the clerk of parliament is in charge of administration, right? I was privileged, and I'm proud to say that, for work in the British Parliament under the Clerk's Department as a committee specialist. And one of the things where they will tell you when you get your appointment, you get to be politically neutral. You're a public servant. You're there to serve the members of Parliament regardless of their political persuasion. So somebody like Parliamentary, being the clerk of Parliament, enough for come openly. If they're for charge for contempt, I think he is guilty of contempt. 3 things he's done, and I will blame Parliament. This is the same man who was found wanting with a degree from an institution which was not an accredited institution. The very Parliament at the time appoint a commission for looking to that degree, then false degree claim. And who was the person who was chairing that committee? It's no wonder that the man who came for change, Alusane Alassane. What came out of that? Nothing. Secondly, let's talk about the appointment of the speaker, because that's where we get wrong. Because according to the constitution, when a member of parliament, when somebody is appointed a member of parliament, that person is given a certificate for say you are duly elected. And when Parliament starts, the first thing we then get for do na election of the Speaker. Now that makes so the Constitution make and clear say you get an election of the Speaker before you take an oath. You don't need for take an oath for participate in the Speaker election. So apparently they tell you what he do, and we all recall what he do at the time. Now because they removed members of Parliament for in gerrymandering trick. And now he ought to be called upon by the Parliamentary Services Commission for explain to we what he do, how he manipulate that result day for let the Speaker then in favor. Because if he is the same clerk of Parliament that is going to continue to preside over Parliament with all this constitutional review, what they talk, because with constitutional review, bills have to go through Parliament. And he's a clerk. Even with a referendum, before you get a referendum, you have to get a referendum bill. But it's not that this man will do more damage than he's already done. This is a serious issue. And if what he do, according to the Constitution, and the Abbas Bundu be mentioned them, and I will give people a reference, it's on record. When they tried to bring in the PR system under the Election Act, Abbas Bundu as Speaker warned the members of Parliament that it will be unconstitutional and he cannot preside over such an issue. And anybody who violates the Constitution, according to him, can be charged for treason. So if Parliamentary openly talk about how he manipulate an election for Speaker, that's a treasonous charge. In my own view, he cannot continue to be Clerk of Parliament. But why would he be Clerk of Parliament? Because when he was found wanting, even the ACC commissioner who investigated him, in summation, he said he found it impossible for say parental not be noble in WEF in appointment. But he not reached the threshold of prosecution. But then he left to the president appointer because I get the right to hire and fire. Then the very parliamentarians, now they mean go, we want our power, we want our power. With this revelation, I grieve for my country. That is what I would say. As a public servant, those comments are despicable, and the Parliamentary Services Commission ought to take him on board for let he can explain to the nation what he do as an Ariobo. I don't know if you get any more things, because the next two we'll get for continue. Now, all them process here, we get for look at with people that what they call moral guarantors then, or the development partners, because they're not the third party but the tripartite. How much confidence we get in them? Or should we rely on them? And me, as a member of the diaspora, I feel to say we in the diaspora get a role for play. But I will left on that. If you get any further comment, Lord, talk about financing all this. Because even with census, we not get money. Who would finance it? With electoral reform, even the tripartite, these experts them, as he said, the report will get and get a group called IDEAS, that are International Democratic Elections Agency, when they for pay for the funding. How can we expect other people to pay for our elections and reforms and everything without them not telling we what we are supposed to do or what they do in their interest? Right? The same parliament recently, we see an MP die, where parliamentarians then go begin talk about, say, the parliamentarians they forget special dispensation for health, predictable health insurance. I think that is a slap in the face of Sierra Leoneans. especially now when they face MPOX. Why should we have special dispensation for the same people that we will put the power for make we life better? Just like you, La, hang on there. Last, if you get any word for talk, Lord, talk about this whole idea of we waiting at the diaspora. Because we are both the problem and we are both the solution. Because the people that we go back, we take prominent position at the country now. Now people are from the diaspora. And at the same diaspora, they fund political parties for election because of waiting they want. So now look at positive way of diaspora contribution as the third party in this tripartite. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I think so. I think too bad we'll not get diaspora association of some sort that is really well represented, and I think it can be well financed by contribution by the diasporans them. That's not a problem. Now, how for constitute, how for set up a body who will represent, because I think it also would do a great disservice to a country where deliberately, because what I do not understand, the vast majority of these guys in power, the ministers, the members of parliament, a good many of them are from the diaspora. They were once abroad or living outside Sierra Leone. So they know how much contribution financially as well as intellectually the diasporans then will make or then can make. Yet no attempt is being made for make we part of the system or so we go able to play a constructive role. And if they want to play, and it's not that there are no examples. There are examples of other countries, African countries, where their citizens abroad participate in national elections. But what you may find in Sierra Leone, two things. We'll get two flaws. Number one, we are getting more and more intellectually lazy. Anything that poses a challenge to us intellectually, we don't want to deal with it. We abandon it. We'll go around it. We don't try to improve them. So now this, I find that for say, we do. Then secondly, I just feel say we are more and more to see the degree of selfishness in us. We not care, we not look at something we're good for the country, now waiting good for us, now that we're there after. So I think if we go for turn that ship there around. It is a disservice to the country for left a whole group of us, where they are abroad, and I pretend like we don't exist. And what is so sad, the guys who are in power now, who knew the role of the diaspora. President Boye, without the diaspora, probably would have never been president. Because when he was in the United States, when he was in England, the diaspora contributed to his well-being and the ability for go home. But I cannot understand for the life of me, when these guys go back home, they pretend like the diasporans are enemies of the people. The same diasporans then be the one where the war be the rage, when the economy of Sierra Leone was in tatters. Now the diasporans then keep the Sierra Leone economy and sustain the Sierra Leone economy. You know, there may have been international aids, but as far as hand to mouth, food na mouth, food na belly. Now we abroad, we are sending monies, we are sending food. So where is this disconnect between diaspora and them in terms of what their ability to do for the country? Again, I talk about selfishness. So like me kind so over there, we see things one way. When we go back home, we'll find ourselves in a position of power or in the seat of power. Instead of we continue that trend, we try to disengage from the rest of who we left abroad. So now I make we can say, like even like this show, some of us have no reason. I have been abroad over 55 years. I could turn me back to Salone. My future lies in the hands of Sierra Leone. But I get a passion for my country because they are born, they are go school. You know? Like I can always quote one book where say, everything I learned in life, I learned in kindergarten. Everything I do, now Sierra Leone, I learned in my formative years. Though. So when I see young people like the Parliamentary, the ACC commissioner, by way of talking, then a bobo for we. But not a bobo in the disrespect in terms of age. There are lots of things about our country they don't need. And the potential is there for make our country a wonderful place if we can just stop this selfishness and short-sightedness and just look at what is good for the country. So if we talk about 2028 in those terms, how for twist arms, how for twist the law, how for make the system unworkable, how for give undue advantage to one party, if that's the future we get, I feel sorry for our country. We need visionaries. And this is what, again, some of we tell the people them. Now, I mean not to one of the one where the advocates say, oh, if SPP come on power today, APC come, life will be better. Life may be worse. In fact, you look at the tendencies and the trend, for sure, the life of the people will not be better. Because these guys, they think alike and they're from the same, like I can always say, they're at the same coin. So me not to one of them people will get hopeful. And let us begin to see some sign of seriousness for the country. You know, when I talk about tripartite, all this kind of thing. But look at, why don't we see the names of the people that will belong to committees? When I say when I get experts then, let's see the names of these experts. Would I get qualification in contract law, in international negotiation, in constitutional law? Let's see the background of these people. But if they put people in our committees, just for pay them per diem, and just like then a book say we don't review constitution, we're not going anywhere. It's a joke. It's a joke, and I think we should take things more seriously than we're taking it. But I'm disappointed at the diaspora. Like even Fode Mustafa, I can say, one of our callers. I'm really disappointed. We wait for no better. Suppose for no better, we don't know any better. Back home, they say, you know, go for an hour, you turn fish. But it looked like we were there abroad, we'll go home, and that will happen. As we go, we join the group, you know? And so that's all, because we get a lot of other topics then, so let me not belabor the whole process. Mr. Mengot, we'll move to another issue or subtopic.
Well, I think so why I introduced this topic and this part, the last part, what they look at. Now, anything what they do, we get for look at money. How would they get money for doing? The very tripartite agreements what they talk about, the tripartite process. There was no funding from government. I think so we get 2 million from the United States government. Perform everything. Even now, when we don't get the secretariat, you get a man where I think his name is Ngolo Kata, when I heard the secretariat. I see they talk about a lot of plans that we don't put in place or we intend for do. But my disappointment is that they still they expect funding for come from the international community. Now we're at a critical stage. We have Trump in America, who is no longer interested in Africa. If you look at USAID program, they don't close. USAID, now one of the people that have been funded. You look at Europe, European Commission. The Europeans say don't do it then, because there's a rise of the right-wing parties in Europe. And they don't take some of the money they wait and they give it for increase in defense spending. So the key question is, the gun don't dry for we. The gun don't dry. And if the gun don't dry, we get all the lofty ideas here. How we go fund them? Because if funding not there, We go just use patch. Now, like what I've been go free so I hear one saying when they say, yeah, go do. Say, no, we go catch. If you are not go do, how go they catch? So we the diasporans get for wake up. Myself included. I go town recently. We all go, some of we they go jubilate for we school them. We celebrate, one school celebrates 100 years, the other school celebrates 180 years. Quite a long time. We'll get education in that country there. There are also then we see we compete in the diaspora. The one way they found political party. Even here, one of the parties their name withheld for make the election in England pass and get for go court. Waiting do English court get for decide election for diaspora wing na England. Are we serious? Are we putting our money where our mouth is? Can we salvage the situation? I think these are the questions we have to ask. We waiting at the diaspora because you get two sets. You get we were still there behind where they go 110. Now some of we then they call blunt cam. Because you get Jesse, you get blunt cam. Jesse now 110 for a year. Blunt cam now where they go 2-3 for a year because of other issues there. But then you also get diasporans that we don't left America and England. We settle in Salone. They're enjoying their pension, they live good. But before then they come, we all they see them now, like some don't come, we see they all they come for medical. The same medical which is not affordable or available to the rest of we Sierra Leoneans then. As you say, 2-3 days ago, I tell God thank you because I had one more year to my age. I reached at the 7th step, although Mr. Shyllon, you don't reach it. Some of we don't know self-wo, they talk so. 2028, now pardon. Hello, look am. President Boye celebrates 61 years in birthday recently. If you take him, he don't rule for 7 years. He take power in 54. And Esco myself again take power in the 50s. So some of you don't pass to sell by date. The only two who can do for a country, now then tell what this so. Because in Africa they say when an old man dies, a whole library is lost. So I don't get much for say onto this. I think say my final statement. I'm glad if I always listen to we. And I continue for the send in our comments. Even if I'm not phoning, and I send and we page. By the way, I'm pleased to announce that a member of the diaspora just contact me. We want to donate £200 to a scholarship fund. So I tell that member they thank you, and I will make sure say he reach out for the good purpose. Until we meet again, Nami they say tata. Over to you, sir.
Same here. Thank you everyone for listening. As usual, please when I come up with ideas, contact with the members of parliament, some of the issues there we will raise. If when again a concern, contact with the ministers them and tell them say when I listen to a show. And then when I get some questions, and probably sometimes to encourage them for call in. Because we've been asking some of them government officials there, if they say we disagree, then disagree with we, which we welcome, call, correct the record, take your own position known, because we're only going by what we know to be facts. So if our facts are wrong, we welcome ideas, because we're not in any propaganda thing. I can tell for say we are very passionate. We are true lovers of Sierra Leonean and Sierra Leone. True lovers of Sierra Leoneans them. We just want to see the country live up to its potential that it's not living up to, and there are ways it can be done because we get the means, we get the wherewithal, we just not get the vision, like Bob Marley say, in the midst of water, the fool is thirsty. So in the midst of abundance, we are still perishing. So we have to figure out a way how we can do that. I may not see the Moses characteristic in APC or SFPP for take win and promised land day. That's all. So good night, and thank you very much for your participation.
In the heart of Sierra Leone, where dreams often struggle to find wings, one young man dared to hope. This is John Sitta. Born into a humble family where even putting food on the table was a daily challenge, education seemed like a distant dream.
Good afternoon and welcome to Voice of Salone Radio.
Good afternoon to the listeners.
Yeah, so what are your name?
My name is Ibrahim, sir. Ibrahim Pedal.
Ibrahim Pedal, what is
Kamara.
Kamara. You understand say everybody people come first in the whole country?
Yes, I'm a Pekin. Actually, they talk to you now, so we born the Pekin. Now, attire the cell. Now, empty attire the cell, and no gets. And launch na 10,000 a year every day. At times we meet up at the biggest one and when we eat, they can get 10,000. Not all the time. It is strain. At the constraint, at the up to 14 years, work no day.
John had a fire in his heart and brilliance in his mind. But brilliance without opportunity often fades into silence. His parents believed in him, but with an annual family income of less than $1,000, they couldn't afford to keep John in school. Then came the VOS Diaspora Helping Hands Scholarship Program, a beacon of hope for underprivileged, talented students like John.
Take the first position during my WAS examination.
And what are the mechanisms have you put in place for you to become first again for WAS?
I should be studying very hard and hardworking in class.
So what do you want to tell others that unfortunately came first in the Beckett process?
Okay, my advice to my colleague students is that success do not come overnight. They have to study and get prepared for any task overhead.
All right, thank you very much. This is VOS, Voice of Salone Radio.
Today, John is not just a student. He's a leader, a mentor, and a beacon of hope for his community. With your support, VOS Diaspora Helping Hands empowers students like John from humble beginnings to reach for the stars. Together we can transform more lives. Together we can change the story. Join us today. Sponsor a dream. Shape the future. Scan the QR code to donate or visit our website at www.vosdiaspora.org.